As part of your leadership in the ministry of stewardship, you will find people who have different beliefs or open enmity to the stewardship service that you do or the teaching of tithes and offerings specifically. I have seen in my ministry that some members, even though members who have good and well-grounded biblical knowledge and long experiences as church leaders, they have some concerns with how the church supports itself or how the church requires or invites people to return God tithes and to give freely offerings. They have decided to go that path because of many reasons. I have seen people because they have a problem with the previous pastor or the present pastor. I have seen people that they do that because they have a family of conflict. Sometimes they do it because they have been hearing other teachings from other teachers and denominations. And some people is that because they believe that they are their own masters and is part of a rebellious spirit inside of them. If that comes to you, don't be surprised. That's part of it. I remember that in one of my churches, I had a leader that had been an elder before I arrived and was serving as an elder in that year that I encountered that he wasn't faithful with tithes and offerings. More than that, he was openly against tithes and offerings. His argument was that the church has accepted the idea of tithes and offerings based on Ellen G. White books, not in the Bible. When I got together with him, I shared with him that the development of the doctrine of stewardship and especially the support of the church in tithes and offerings wasn't from Ellen G. White, was a research that Jane and Andrews did as a request from the General Conference after they tried systematic benevolence and other ways to support the church. He heard it, it didn't change his mind. Then we went to the Bible. He was saying that the teaching of tithes is not in the New Testament. So I went with him and I quote him Matthew chapter 23, verse 23, and it says, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you tithe mint and dill and cumin, and have neglected neither the weightier matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness." So I told him, is Jesus saying that tithe is wrong, or is he saying that they give tithes? So he didn't want to encounter this because he was pretending that the verse is saying that it was wrong to tithe. It's like another verse in the same book of Matthew that Jesus says, you pray, but pray like this, or you fast, or pray like this. When you pray, when you fast, is how the verse says. So I was telling him, as when you pray and when you fast, Jesus is not saying that praying and fasting is wrong. He's saying that you can do it better. Tithing is not wrong, but you can tithe and also have a lifestyle that reflects the belief that you have in the God that you serve when you tithe. The person wasn't convinced. And sometimes people is not looking to be convinced. They have made the decision and they have some spiritual challenges that they need to face. Our selfishness is deep and our heart is confusing. So I just take it with patience, and I will offer to you 3 advices to encourage and handle conflicts regarding stewardship and especially tithes and offerings. Number 1, bring the topic to the Bible. Sometimes the people have concerns about the biblical principles, and they are good concerns. You need to be open and even feel good that people has the honesty to talk to you about these issues. So bring the Bible to the table, go with them through a Bible study. We have the doctrine number 21 that is about stewardship. We have many books and resources, and even your church pastor can help you to have this study from the pulpit or in their houses. That is the most private and close environment where you can have this conversation. Talk to them and encourage them to see what the Bible says and see that this is a godly requirement. So I do it not because it makes a lot of sense in the numbers way, but I do it because God asked me for it, and I do it because I want to serve God, even with my tithes and my offerings. Number 2, if the process of bringing the Bible, and even if you want the spirit of prophecies with some quotes, to present to them the value of tithing for our soul, for our salvation, and for our spirituality, you can, if it doesn't work, you can bring also the church manual, especially if the person is a leader. Remember that you don't need to give tithes and offerings to be a member of a local church. However, the church manual advises that you don't choose for a position of leadership somebody who is not faithful in tithes and offerings. How can you meet in a church board to discuss about tithes or to discuss about how to use money if you don't believe the church should have any money at all? Or if you don't believe that the church is God's appointed people or that that's the storehouse that God has? How are you part of it? And how are you really supporting the ministry that you are making votes and decisions to do? So it is just illogical. So the church manual presents that you can use it to encourage and say, you are leader of the church and we need you to trust and to give the testimony of church support with your tithes and offerings as well. It may be another thing for people to think and to see the logic of their involvement in tithes and offerings. And number 3, if the person decides not to take the advice or just to continue with the process, sometimes feeling more pride or prouder and going to share with others about the teachings or the new learnings that they have, you will need to bring this name and this person to the pastor and to the church board. The reason why we have to do that is because when division is settled in the church, the leader needs to see the danger and scream, "There's a wolf." And when that happens, the church knows and avoids the drama that will come after the church takes any decision regarding that person that may be a leader of the church. In my story, when I sit with him and I saw his behavior, his rebellious intention became more and more aggressive. He became openly against the church organization and its finances in the board meeting, in a business meeting. And it became very evident that this brother wasn't feeling comfortable with the biblical principles that we were sharing and the things that we were trying to put together in order to help the church to move forward. So as I presented the topic to the board, when the next nominating committee came, this person wasn't elected. Now, his bitterness grew and he became an open enemy of the church. But interestingly enough, when this happened, the church wasn't harmed or affected, because before his open enmity rised, we saw in his tithes and offerings that his heart wasn't going through the right place. I kept a good relationship with him after that. I kept the conversations and the respect. However, he was removed from being a leader. And when he became an enemy of the church, even there, he wasn't my enemy. I just did the best as a leader to protect the church from a problem that was coming. Many things in church happen because we see danger and we don't scream on time. When it comes, we are already in the mouth of the wolf. And these people can be really dangerous wolves. I pray that you have wisdom to handle differences like this and that the Lord will protect you, and hope that you never have one of those wolves among your sheep. God bless.